see that I will achieve, because I do the things I should, between my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, won't stop. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Yes, my straight up family. Whenever you hear straight up for me to reach out to those on the World Wide Web who are logged on to zlzonline.com. Those of you in the diaspora on different platforms as well, Facebook, YouTube, and it's time for me to say good night. In some cases I can say good morning, in other cases I can say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Perhaps you're in Asia, there are many of you in Europe, my good posse in the United Kingdom as well.
Tonight from 8 until 10 p.m. on ZIZ Radio Power 96.1. Tune in for Straight Talk.
Your job is to serve the people, not to get in the back and forth that sometimes as humans, people can say things about you and you breathe over the limit. But the one who wears the armor and carries the name of God, let him fight your battle.
It's a program where you can share your views.
Well, I don't usually call into the radio station, but I have to call in. For years and years and years, that area has been neglected. Those houses there on the other side of Mr. Byron gas station was. See y'all getting ready to do something about it.
Ask your questions.
What does want to do? They are Satan and judging sin.
Tune in every Monday and Thursday night from 8 until 10 p.m. right here on ZIZ Radio with your host, Ian Patches Liburd for Straight Talk.
Tune in for policing
today or for the last 24 hours, because we know it's
Investigations Department as he focuses on crime, factors contributing to criminal activity, crime prevention, and how the community can assist the police.
Yesterday, or should I say, day before yesterday, there were some 13 cases. I'm not certain what happened again in the last 24 hours, but there were some number of cases were 655 cases, of which some 64 were in fact active cases. So we're hoping and praying that things would improve. It's happening all over the world, especially this new wave. You hear so much about this Delta variant, and we are weary. I also want us to think of our brothers and sisters in Haiti. What next for Haiti? I say Haiti, we're sorry. But is sorry enough? You've had your president assassinated just over a month ago, and now you heard of that 7.3 earthquake, I think it is, on the Richter scale, and over 1,000 people so far have died. So our hearts, our prayers are with the people of Haiti, and what can we say? Only God knows. And as we speak of vaccine as well, we've heard so many discussion about vaccine mandates. Here in New York, we've heard of Mayor Bill Blasio's intention to implement or to require vaccine proof if you want to enter into public places like restaurants or indoor venues, in gyms, and so on. And that I know has created a lot of discussion. There's quite a lot of discussion at home as well in terms of the policy being introduced or implemented by some companies in St. Kitts. But this vaccine is not over. We also heard of the protests against the mandating of vaccines. We've heard as well mandating of masks, wearing masks. So we don't know how long we'll continue to be what I call faceless people. We've heard of the protests elsewhere in the Caribbean and throughout the world, but fortunately we in St. Kitts and Nevis are a civil bunch of people, although we know uprising started in St. Kitts, ironically, way back in the 1930s, but that's history. Tonight I really wanted to look at affordable housing. I want to look at affordable housing in St. Kitts and Nevis, or I should say specifically in St. Kitts, because I really can't speak about Nevis because I'm not seized with the issues over there in Nevis. But in St. Kitts, we do have issues as it relates to affordable housing. And last week, Monday, I reported to the country that I was saddened by the fact that one project which was, or rather is, my brainchild, to wit the Wellington Road Housing Project, was still in a state of nobody knows, and it seems that nobody cares. Because if anyone did then, as I said back last week Monday, and I want to repeat it, if anyone did, then those condo units would have already been occupied. I say if anyone did, then those condo units would have been already occupied. And I'm not one who talks because I have a mouth, and I don't talk without facts. And let me tell you a little secret. Before the start of every Straight Talk program, I ask Almighty God in silent prayer to guard my lips and to guide my tongue. That way, I have found over the years has kept my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking what I call falsity. You know that I have told you over the years that when you come to Straight Talk, you must speak the truth, but just be prepared to stand alone. And I made the comment about the houses in Wellington Road, the Wellington Road housing project, like I said. And my friend of 30, less or more, I cannot be accurate, but we go back a long way. And my friend called in my Straight Talk program last week and asked this question, to which I responded accordingly. My friend asked this question, to which I responded accordingly.
I want to say congratulations to you for keeping your show at a very high standard. Patches, you can give me any idea on your show, or maybe we could talk off here, why those houses in your town have been built so long and they have not been given out. Because this is one of the biggest mysteries I've ever seen in this country. I back the unity government, but the square pegs in round hole is what bothering me. And I am home here in the $1 million building, relaxing, giving God praise and thanks, listening all the time. I don't call, but I had to call tonight. And you make me feel good is you make me call. When you say straight talk is straight talk, you got to come with facts. All I want to say to you, I have a lot of respect for you when it comes around politics, because one of the great reasons why we're still friends, you're straight when it comes to these things with politics, and you still did one of the best jobs as a government minister ever in this country. Your one term equal to 3 and 4 terms for other ministers that serve in your field.
And I want to thank my good friend of like 30 years or more for that commendation. But another caller raised this question, to which I also responded. That caller asked or raised this question.
I just want to ask you a quick question. These houses that these people are talking about in St. Kitts, I mean, aren't the government responsible for passing out those houses? You know, I mean, I can't understand, you know, not because the government doesn't have a representative in that area, aren't the government still, you know, leading and, you know, taking the charge and distributing those houses? Why is there a hold up? You know, I mean, can you explain that to the people? I mean,
okay.
All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot. The money was made available through the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, $8,000, of which $4,000 was a loan and $4,000 was grant funded. So those houses, 60 houses, will cost NHC $4,000. There's no reason why those houses are still locked down today. And my straight up family is human, and I misspoke. So I just want to make one small retraction. That is, when I said $8,000 and $4,000 respectively, instead I should have said $8 million and $4 million in that order. This was my, or is my, straightforward retraction. But like I said, I always bring the facts. And on December 17, on December 20th, 2017, as the Minister with responsibility for Petro-Carib, I received this letter which read, Dear Minister, and the subject, Wellington Road Project. The joint venture company, PDV, St. Kitts Nevis Limited, has agreed with the St. Kitts government to build 60 new units at Wellington Road. As it has been previously informed, the contract was granted to CCF, and the cost of the project is approximately $8.3 million US dollars. As part of the Petro-Carib agreement and the sovereign use of the finance portion of the debt, the joint venture company agrees to give a $5 million US dollar loan to the government that will be paid in monthly installments during 20 years at 2% annual rate, and the difference will be a non-reimbursable amount. This housing allowance will help the people of St. Kitts to improve their quality of life due to the better conditions our houses will offer. We expect to expedite this project, and for your perusal, we attach here the loan agreement, and we will await your advice. As this project is time sensitive, CCF have procured the building materials that should be landing shortly, and we expect that the relevant tax concession, duty-free taxes, and the costs of both be granted to this project because the nature of it being a social project. Also, it is important to relocate the people currently living on the site for security reasons, considering that we are scheduled to start with the project early January 2018, including the demolition of the previous buildings. And this is signed by Maria A. Colmenares, the General Manager of Petro-Carib PDV St. Kitts Nevis Limited. And it is also countersigned here by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, and I believe this signature is that of the former Permanent Secretary. But this was my straightforward, unapologetic response to DUPON. This is what I said to my friend DuPont when he asked the question.
If you got any idea, please share it with me, because I'm getting angry and I'm going to lash out at this thing on my own program. The house is getting given out already.
Captain.
Talk to me, Patrice, talk to me.
You are absolutely correct.
Praise the Lord.
There is no justifiable reason houses should not have been allocated. There is also no reason why the 60 houses were built should have been built out. Was that the problem? So what is the problem? And the former chairman of the NHS and the current advisor in housing has to be accountable and come to the people who pay his salary and say what's wrong.
Oh, well, I want to thank you for the information you have given me tonight.
Yes.
I'm going to deal with it.
You can contact Valentine Lindsay, who is the former chairman of the NHC.
I'm going to call him now.
The special advisor in housing.
Yes.
And ask him what is wrong. He must come to the public and tell the public what is wrong.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge him to come live on my program.
Fine. Very good.
Nice. But you have a good evening. I'm going to listen to you till you finish.
Thanks a lot for calling.
Peace
All is
out.
well. My Street Talk family, the following day, on Tuesday afternoon last week, I received numerous calls and messages informing me that my friend Carlton Emmanuel Rasta without locks Liburd Japan was taking aim at me and challenged what I said to him. He went on to say that he can speak with authority.
Remember, people tell you half-truth. That is why I had to get the truth today about the houses in Newtown, and I know I can speak with authority. I am speaking to you this afternoon, authority, that Valentine Lindsay has nothing to do, and anytime I hear that again, I will ask him to come in here and himself and say what he had to say. Whenever I get a chance to talk to him, he must come and sit here and let me question him, and he must say everything. I'm not saying he come in, you know.
Well, my Straight Talk family, I won't argue or get into a public spat with my friend, because that is not what this program is all about. Straight Talk is not designed for that. And really, truth be told, my friend Carlton has no locus standi in this constituency matter. I am sure that we will both agree, however, that housing is critical for the environment in which we all have to live here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and in particular in East Bassettill. Unlike other constituencies, land, it is said, is a scarce commodity in East Bassettill. I don't agree. But that discussion I will defer to a subsequent program. What is important though is that it does not matter whether you live in $1 million mansion or $100,000 cottage or an apartment tenement house, as long as you do not get wet when the rain begins to fall. Rain a couple days ago, I'm sure, and you're locked up in your tenement or your $1 million mansion or your cottage, and I'm sure when the rain we know how important that is. The prime minister that you live in the house, because under his leadership, every in St. Kitts got repeated, and people always remember that. Whether we were in labor, or somebody says no, as long as your house was big, it got God thanks for team unity.
Thank God for the unity government this morning. Right now, no leaks, and when rain come before, it used to leak plenty. Thank God.
That's what everybody is saying. And I want to say as well, a safe and climate sensitive shelter can provide security, protection, and a future for the inhabitants or those who live in or occupy that place or home. For poor women, the home plays a critical role in their income earning activities, making it a productive asset. They can sew or make cassava bread like my friend Ann Chumney. They can bake and roll out and sell nice, lovely cakes like my dear friend Jeanette, or they can cook like Nurse Daniel once did. So the point is, people can use their house and turn it into an income earning asset. They can do things that make their home rather into a productive asset. In a post-COVID-19 and climate crisis hit world, it means better security and health as well for the who are allocated an NHC house. Most importantly, legal rights to a house mean that the owner gets an identity and a sense of independence that the state, financial and other institutions recognize. St. Kitts has a national housing problem. To put it simply, there are too few houses to meet the demand of potential homeowners who cannot get a loan from a bank and depend on an institution like the National Housing Corporation. And the Douglas Labour Party did not solve the problem of the poor single mothers in particular. Else, you would not hear this question being posed by a poor woman back then to the former leader.
I would like to know, how am I working undetected for $320 could take for $700 NHC house?
And that's a question that many will ask today. This mismatch between supply and demand has created an affordability problem, as ordinary people cannot pay for a mortgage or an NHC house. And to compound the problem, house rent has risen rapidly in every single village across the country. We need more affordable housing, and since it will take time to resolve the supply shortage, we must start the necessary reforms now. Many young first-time buyers are struggling to acquire their first home, reducing their ability to gain a foothold in the country of their birth and begin to accumulate wealth, and moreover to accumulate dignity, which must be seen as a birthright to all human beings. Owning a house in the land of your birth must be seen as a right to all petitions and divisions. These are constructive issues we need to talk about and not to argue. And before I get into any argument, I simply apply what I call the Mark Twain theory. But I must reiterate that each passing day I struggle to find the reason why the construction of 4 buildings on Wellington Road with a total of 24 units have been completed for over 1 year, yet the allocation of these houses has not been done. Residents of East Bastille were already interviewed, and 24 persons were already notified of the NHC board decision to allocate those houses, but now there is a definite roadblock. And in the interim, meanwhile, 24 families are being forced to live in conditions, as we say, the house big in the day, but it's small in the night. How many of us know an old saying, house big in the day, small at night, to say it in colloquial language? The roadblock back then, I reiterate, and still is Valentine Lindsay, the former chairman of the People's Action Movement, the former chairman of the National Housing Corporation for nigh 6 years, and now he is a special advisor to the Ministry of Housing, and still attends those meetings as relates to those houses on Wellington Road and West Street. So Carlton, Liburd, Jupon, you and I, Ian Patches Liburd, are not going to fight. We are not going to be at war, Liburd. As our friendship, as I said, goes back over 30 years since we first met at your little store, the top of Carty Alley and Pond Road. When I motivated you to become one of the best, if not the best football referee in St. Kitts, and you can be the best at whatever you do, even if it's talk radio. As a friend, I always implored you, however, never to put yourself down. Even if people say that you act as if you are crazy, and you say crazy things on radio, you should not yield to these people and say things like this. My dear brother, you should not yield to people.
Be careful to do like me, because I'm a special child. I used to be crazy when I was small. Doctors had to tend to me. 7 doctors had to work on me from age 1 to 9. I was mentally sick.
Value yourself, my friend Carlton. Promote your self-esteem and self-respect. Stop pulling yourself down, and don't need to compare yourself with anyone, as comparison breeds vanity. It becomes empty and valueless. But suffice to add, because this is not about my friend, we get back to housing. When Team Unity got into office in 2015, and we completed those houses in Lambert's, I think it was, Valentine Lindsay, as chairman of the NHC, came to the cabinet with his arrogant attitude and seemed hell-bent to exclude poor people from getting the houses by making a case to set the mortgage at $1,200 and more per month, as he claimed that the houses that were built were middle-income houses. I remember vividly asking Valentine Lindsay back then, Mr. Chairman, are you saying to the cabinet that poor people cannot live in middle-income houses? That's the question I asked him. When they come, the houses cost so much money, and poor people had to pay $1,200 a month for a house. Eventually we introduced a 3-tier system, but we'll come to that some other time. But let's look at the National Housing Corporation Act, CAP 23.18, introduced by the former administration way back, I think it was in 1996. I think it was way back in 1996. I'll get that right for you, Street Talk family. But the act to establish the National Housing Corporation for the purpose of adding to and improving the existing supply of houses, enhancing the usefulness of the funds of the corporation by promoting greater efficiency in the housing sector, and to repeal the Social Services Levy Act and the Slum Clearance and Housing Act. Here's where my interest really still lies, is to eliminate the slum clearance in Bastia, and in particular East Bastia, at Wellington Road, West Street, and East Street as well. It also speaks, that's the act, to the functions of the corporation, which includes and shall be, amongst other things, under Section 4, subsection 1A, to add to and improve the existing supply of houses by promoting housing projects, and it goes on and on. But under Section 4, subsection 1C, and more instructive. The functions of the corporation shall be to provide housing for the indigent and infirm. You heard that, my family? Provide housing for poor and needy people, for people who are not physically or mentally strong, especially to age or illness. This is what the act says, and it says shall. There's no option. No option at all. But one day, my Stray Dog family, I received a telephone call from Valentine Lindsay inviting me to an NHC board meeting to discuss the houses at Wellington Road, which I found strange. And I told him that the general manager attended all the meetings that were convened to discuss the construction of those houses on Wellington Road. Valentine Lindsay said to me that the general manager never reported to the board. But I still declined, because I think it was out of order for him to insist that I come to any board meeting. Now, the first schedule of the National Housing Corporation Act prescribes that the board appoints a general manager. When the Team Unity government got into office, the general manager was a very competent lady by the name of Mrs. Elrita Simpson Brown. Someone who I believe understood government policy as it relates to the critical importance of housing to the ordinary poor man and woman in St. Kitts, and who I came to find out Mrs. Elrita Simpson Brown championed some slum clearance in East Bastille and throughout St. Kitts. The first schedule of the act, interestingly, also stipulates the appointment of a secretary and makes the exception that the general manager and secretary of the board may be the same person. But lo and behold, I later found out that the general manager under Valentine Lindsay was debarred from and never attended meetings of the board. Could you imagine a general manager of an important corporation like the NHC, who is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the corporation, but was never invited to attend meetings of the board? Could you imagine that? But that was Valentine Lindsay's way, or his method, used to shape and at the same time implement policy and run the day-to-day operations of the corporation. And he did. Yes, Valentine Lindsay, as chairman of the board, ran the National Housing Corporation for 6 years like a bar shop. And that's my story, and you'd better believe it. Now, freedom of speech is a great right. It is necessary and beneficial and powerful. However, it also starts some big arguments and some of the biggest fights. But we have to learn to agree to disagree. We are not always going to agree because there are too many different individuals with their own means of thinking, with their own thoughts, for all of us to think the same. Some people like to say that they have the facts, or as my friend put it, he got the evidence. But if they have the facts, then present the facts to the people. Don't say you have the facts, present the facts to the people. Let the people be the judge.
Let me tell the people of this country, I'm very disappointed, because the information that I received today from those very high-level meetings that I've been invited to, people would call in and patch his show They must have known those things. And to implicate Valentine Lindsay the way he has been implicated, it's wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong for anybody in this country, any citizen of St. Kitts Nevis, to implicate Valentine Lindsay in this problem with the lack of giving out the houses in Newtown when I have the evidence in front of me. It's wrong.
My family.
None of you will be able to see this evidence that I have. None.
My family. And straight up, that is what we do. Present the facts. Opinions are not facts. However, it is so alarming how many people believe that their opinion is fact. We incorrectly believe that if we believe something, it is correct. I mean, if we believe it, it must be true. And the facts are that this social project on Wellington Road was approved in 2015 by the highest authorities of both Venezuela and St. Kitts Nevis in the persons of President Nicolas Maduro and Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, now Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, visited the houses on Wellington Road that were built in the 1950s. She visited in 2016, and that to me demonstrated the commitment of Venezuela to funding these houses. As a matter of fact, the idea was to give this free of cost, fund the entire project. But when it was learned that the NHC was going to collect more, it changed into a loan and a grant component. And Maria Colmenares, the general manager of Petrocarim, finally wrote the letter that I read on 2017, earlier at December 2017. The NSC subsequently got planning approval in 2017 from the Development Control and Planning Board. The financial funds for this project came from a Venezuela team. And PDV is $1885521 dated for EC dollars $13,854,500. 194-9589 dated June 30th, 2017 for EC dollars 11 cents. Sometimes you wonder where the 22 cents will come in these checks, big checks. But a construction contract was signed with a further chosen company according to the price, quality, most important time frame to perform work. From CCF in 2017 that referenced prices from 2016. A percentage of the contract sums would have been a growth of $3.8 million for sewage plant and demolition and so on. And this was reduced to $4 million following a request by the minister responsible for housing. The Development Control and Planning Board gave to the National Housing Corporation the commencement certificate to begin the construction on February 16, 2018. For that reason, on September 2018, as for government request, 12 crisis shelter units were built at Pond Extension without any physical letter or communication on the good faith between both governments. Those units were delivered on December the 21st. That is not or was not the responsibility of cooperation. Despite that, in the groundbreaking ceremony on Thursday, June the 20th, 2018, with the highest authorities from both countries, including the Prime Minister of St. Nevis, the Minister of Housing of St. Kitts, truly then Minister of the JBC or Perpetual Caribbean representative along the construction was started. That the 4 buildings were ready to be delivered as of today, August 2021, those buildings are still empty. So if Valentine Lindsay, the former chairman of the People's Action Movement, the former chairman of the National Housing Corporation for 96 consecutive years, the campaign manager and now the special advisor to the Minister of Housing, if he wants to dispute these facts, then don't go to DuPont Experience, because the people, the taxpayers, pay your salary, and they will not be able to pick up a phone and have a decent conversation with you, Mr. Lindsay. Come instead. Here's an invitation. Come to Straight Talk, and I would make an entire program available to you, Mr. Lindsay, and any of your support staff. You will get 45 minutes to 1 hour to present your story. Then we'll open the lines to our listeners for the next hour. In the meantime, DuPont, if you wish, you can call Mrs. Elrita Simpson Brown or Mr. Charles Morton, 2 former general managers of the National Housing Corporation that Valentine Lindsay orchestrated to remove so that he can continue to run the National Housing Corporation like his own bar shop. Charles Morton, a career banker, my heart went out to him because I know he tried. So my friend Carlton, you and I would not argue or fight about those houses on Wellington Road. As I said before, you have no locus standi in this matter. But you are, however, entitled, like everyone in St. Kitts Nevis, to your opinion. But sad to disappoint you, though, because opinions are not facts. And I'm always reminded of the great philosopher Plato, who is one of the principal founders of the Western intellectual tradition. And it is nearly impossible to examine the historical development of any academic topic without knowingly or unknowingly addressing the views of Plato. And Plato placed much importance on knowledge and facts. And he also stated, and I love his famous quotation, in which he declared, and I quote, "Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. I repeat that. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. That's my story tonight, and you'd better believe it. But while I felt duty bound to provide those clarifications tonight, I will hasten to add that the issue of housing in St. Kitts Nevis is bigger than Valentine Lindsay and others. And for that reason, I wish to ask 3 questions, and I crave your response to these questions when I open the line in a few seconds from now. Now, the National Housing Corporation Act number 9 of 1996 came into force on the 1st of September 1996. It was amended by Act number 13 of 1999, then Act number 23 of 2000, and lastly by Act number 15 of 2001. My first question to my straight dog family: what do you believe that the framers of this piece of legislation was thinking when they mandated, they said they mandated that the functions of the NHC shall be to provide housing for the indigent, the poor and the needy, and the infirm, those who are not physically or mentally strong, especially through age or illness? My second question: after 25 years in existence, should the government revisit the mandate? As while we may say that government is continuous, the administration, the Douglas administration that created the NHC failed to carry out the mandate. And my final question: should the role of government be to produce services, or should the role of government be instead to enable others to produce these services? And I'm speaking tonight in the context of housing. Should government be building houses, or should government not create or enable others to build these houses and ensure that the poor and ordinary people are housed in these facilities? My straight dog family, I've tarried long, but I needed to bring this matter to the fore and ensure I provide clarifications, because straight talk, we always talk the facts. Sometimes the truth is harsh, but we have to accept it. The truth sometimes hurts. But Valentine Lindsay, NHC was your fiefdom, that's what they call it, and you still have your hands mingled or tangling with the distribution of those houses. As I said, 24 people were already interviewed and communicated with in terms of the allocation of these houses. We will continue the discussion on housing generally, but I had to say tonight that I am saddened that these houses are still locked down because of one man who failed to carry out instructions. That's my story, and you better believe it. I'm going to open the lines, entertain your calls and your emails. Remember, I asked you some questions as well, but you will have your say as it relates to the matters that I advance tonight. When I do so, I anticipate that you will respect others. Again, my invitation is open to Valentine Lindsay and whomsoever he wants to bring to Straight Talk. Let's have a discussion, a rational discussion, respectful one, but we will open the lines for the people to ask you the questions as well. You come here, we will be unbridled. Respect others. Of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let's ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to everyone. And let's ensure in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts at Nevis. At 1 minute before the 9 o'clock hour, we go to the lines and say, caller, you are live. Good night.
Good evening, Patrice.
Good evening, Patrice.
How are you, brother?
I am peaceful, yourself?
Okay, I'm peaceful too. I must congratulate you and commend you for the way you open your program tonight. And hear this here. A story has 3 sides. Them side, we side, and the right side. And facts are the true judge for accusation. Okay? And without the facts, those accusations will go on. Good night, Jopant. What I would like you to do for me and the listening public, if you say you have the facts, do not say that nobody can see them. Please relate the facts that everybody could know that they are factual. But what you said there, I think the government should really make it possible that those middle income and low income could have the opportunity to own a house. That's one answer to that's an answer to the question. And the other one, I don't remember what it was. Okay, whatever arrangement the government had with NHC, I think the government is doing a good job with that, and the government should continue to do that. And I agree with you, Patches, after a year and months, those houses should already be given out. But I can tell you now, people playing politics with that, and they're playing politics. They do everything to move you from your town, number one. And all because your relationship is so close to the Prime Minister, who is doing good. And I don't care what nobody think or what nobody say. It is obvious, even who are watching could see. That is the main reason why they're after you like that. Because if you were here, those houses would have done given out to the 24 names that were down for those houses. So it's pure politics they're playing. And you have invited Lindsay, or why her name Valentine Lindsay, to come on your program. Why don't he come and speak to the people and clear his name? If he is innocent, come and clear your name. If you are guilty, put up your hand and yes, you're guilty. But don't run from it, you know. They're playing a lot of politics with you, but they ain't gonna get work. Because what happened here? You have speak the truth. You have speak the truth. They go root, they go boot. You talking the gospel truth. And that is what hurting people, Patches. You hurt them because I like how your program going. You have the soundbite with everybody, Tutman and Sam who talk. You play the voice, let people hear who say what they say and who wrong and who right. Patches, I will come back because I want a lot of people get in and look at their opinion. So let me cut me talk them short. And I hope everybody will cut the talk short and have consideration for other people to get in. Okay? So long.
Thank you very much. I miss your 3 sides. Them side, we side, I miss the other side. But really a shilling has 3 sides. Heads, tails, and the circumferential side. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Yes. Good evening, honorable Patches. Stop headed yourself about the houses then. Lindsay ain't have no position. Can't win the seat. So it got to be the top. And you on the top is good. Because Lindsay ain't gonna pour all those houses. So stop blame Lindsay. Because just when Labour had built the house from Shadow too, we were blaming Marcella them. But Labour lose and they give out the house them to who they want. They got the people to give out the house them too. So stop blame people. Until you have me both of me get the money to buy nothing. They always said to stop bullying people. Lindsay ain't got no power. He ain't the prime minister. He ain't the boss. He on the board. Alright, you take care. See you.
Okay, happy birthday to you, my dear. Let's go back to the lines.
Patches,
my brother.
This is Major Jones.
Yes, the Major.
I sit here and listen to you, right? And you sound good. You sound good. But I want to tell you something. Listen to me quite slowly as a Newton man. This is the dealing with the quest of commitment. Yeah? What you have to do, you have to learn to understand the reasons for other people's reluctance to commit. And the only way to discover these reasons is to have a role play. Each playing the part of other persons. The one who wants more distance presents argument for the person who wants more commitment. And the one who wants more commitment presents the argument for the one who wants more distance. So let's have a role play. You understand me? You heard me?
Yes, Major.
So that is what I said, let's have a role play. Let us have a role play. So whenever they think I ain't calling nobody's name, let us have a role play and let's see how the thing work out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Major has become a great philosopher in your retirement age. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line. Yes, caller.
Yes. Good evening, Honorable Patches Liburd. You could not deliver yourself more better and what you done tonight. And I'm glad you had all your signboard them as usual. Now, my good friend, Hush Talk Puppy, better known as DuPont, right? Now, he was saying that the guy from Lindsay and have nothing to do with the houses then. So he don't know what is your problem with Lindsay with the houses. And furthermore, you should not be giving out no house in your town because you're not an elected member on your town. You understand me? So you should not be giving no house out. This from DuPont Talk, you know. And I don't know why he operates like that. Well, they say he crazy, some say he crazy, what it is. But the fact remains, sometimes you just got to listen and just play the game to go with them. Because I don't know where he's getting himself involved in all of this. These $1 million houses he got, and these lots of money. Well, you don't build some low-income house if you solve it for poor people. Help the poor them to you know. The government is trying the best to get help anywhere they could get help to make sure people got housing to live in. And you were so right. It's all well when in the day the house is big and spacious. But inside the house come very small. You understand me? Time everybody bring in the lodging and take the space. There's no space left. You understand? But Patches, I know you're strong and don't let them things bother you. Leave them to what they want. And then God will take care of your part. And I don't know who's going to take care of the rest of them part. But you don't have to take them off. And you, when your son, just before he died, he said, Daddy, be strong. And always remember that anytime you pick up a phone, a microphone, or anything, Daddy, be strong. Daddy, I love you, be strong. Okay, God bless you, sir.
God bless you as well, the people's king, you know. And yes, as we said, what do you believe the framers of the piece of the NHC legislation, what were they thinking when they mandated the functions to provide housing for the indigent and affirm. Let's go back to the lines. Call it live. Are you there, caller? Okay, bear with us. We're having some difficulty with these calls, but let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Hello, good night, Mr. Liburd. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, the house issue. I understand that while you are laying out the house, people are you going into them because it's taking too long. Not just at Baker's Corner, you know, that this thing happening down in the country. Some house built ever so long, and there's no ceremony to give them out. So I never seen nothing like this in my life yet. I know when house was built in 6 months, 9 months they gave them out, but I don't know what happened to this house. The house up there, they are looking nice, but people complain to them maybe the room a bit too small. I don't know, I never going one. I just look at them at the outside and they are looking beautiful, but I don't know what's going on and so on. And if the housing authority have a problem, they should come and let the people know. Members, we put them there. They never get there by themselves. So I only hope you all could get that problem solved, because I never hear all this back and forth about houses, hanging out and houses, staying too long to give out your thing and sink it. I don't even really know what's going on. You have a good night, you hear?
Yes, have a good night as well. And just to be clear, I am not for any 1 second or moment attacking the membership, the management of the membership of the current board and the current membership of the management in NHC. I am saying I put the blame squarely at the feet of Lindsay, the former chairman, who is still an advisor in house, and he is intimately involved in all issues relating to the Wellington Road project and housing generally in St. Kitts, and he must come to the people and let the people know what has happened to those houses. Why did one general manager removed? Why did he remove Charles Morton? These are issues. Come to us. Let us talk about housing at NHC. Call your line. Okay. Are you there, caller? And in the event you have just joined me, we're looking at housing, and I was specific as it relates to those houses there on Wellington Road that have been completed for over a year. And I reported to the country I was saddened, and still am saddened by the fact that this project, which was my brainchild, to which the Wellington Road House project is still in a state, seems of nobody knows, nobody cares. Call your life. Yes, caller, your life.
Patches.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, me boy. Remember all these country we join within what we call unity. Everything become majority without unity, eh? And that's only one thing I have to say and let it short. You got more sense on that. So you just put people straight.
Thank you. Well, that's what Straight Talk is all about. And I'm not one who talks, because I have a mouth. And I do not talk because I have no fact, or without facts. And I am willing, as I said, to bring you all other facts as relates to those houses on Wellington Road. But again, I'm saddened that that's the situation with those houses on Wellington Road. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live.
Yeah, Patrick. Patrick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm here again.
Yes?
Yeah, they say, some people say that some people are born prophets, and some people don't believe in prophets. But I could tell you, the person who is responsible for giving out those Wellington Road houses, they are a prophet. If he's one, he or she is a prophet. Because they don't anticipate what's going to happen to Haiti, and the people of Haiti will need houses. So they're holding them for them that when they're able to move out to Haiti, they could come and occupy the houses. It's a shame to see a new house done built, and then you will still have to go repair wooden structure that's exposed to the weather outside their roof, and nobody living in them yet. No man, that is what you call a square peg in one hole, a big square peg. You fire one manager from NHC, and you fire another one, and you still there? Come on, something wrong. I learned something in St. Thomas when I was working with Point Food. You know what the boss tell me? And he was from Israel. He tell me, when you put somebody over your business, they have to be on the P's and the Q's and look around to see where you call loss is going to happen. He said you got to prevent people from stealing your property. I said, why? He said, because if the foreman allow we working in the warehouse to take up what we want, and nothing going to be there for the foreman to take up. That's a probable. I want to bring something else to the fore. Now today I was in town. I went with my partner to go pick up something from the health store down 4th Street. And while they're in the car waiting, I see a male police and a female police coming down 4th Street. And 3 guys, pedestrian walking, coming up on the sidewalk. The 2 police, they had on the mask. And none out of the 3 guys coming up had on mask. And when they reach, the male police put his hand and daps one of them. Just daps him on the gun. No question about why you're not wearing your mask. With all the effort the government and the task force and everybody doing to help this country here to come to meet what it requires so that the economy can shoot up. You mean people out there still living carelessly and worthlessly without masks, and police who's supposed to uphold the law, them they passing and watching them and smiling and dapsing and going down. Mr. Commissioner, I am calling on you. Pull in your police them and know, find out from them who working and who are working. Because it's only a few in the crew that don't care about their work. All they care about the check on month 10. You got good police in the force doing their work. And these sets who don't care, those are the ones you got to get rid of. Get rid of them. Some of them base their work on the subject. Oh, I got a lot of subjects. I mean, okay, must give me money. That ain't it. That ain't policing. Policing is seeing people doing wrong thing and stop them. Do what you have to do to uphold the law. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. As we have said that housing, I'm sure you'll agree, is critical for the environment in which we all have to live here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But I'll get back to that. Let's go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Okay, we seem to be having some difficulties with these telephones again. But as I was saying, I'm sure we will agree that housing is critical for us. But let's go to the lines. Let's see if we get this call.
Yes. Good evening, Honorable Participated. Yes, I have a problem to build the house. Give me cousin just behind me because he win in Newton to build the house then, since I have a problem with it. And looking at you are saying people ain't gone to mass. When I went on the memorial, the second in charge of the prime, who be the prime minister, he didn't have on the mass, and he was saying the prime minister, and nobody made no noise. So where are you running down people like that? Yes, I know they're supposed to put on the mass, but when we see all like the big leaders them doing wrong, we're doing the same thing because they ain't setting no example. See you.
Okay. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Hello, good night, Minister Liburd. How are you doing?
Good night. I am peaceful, sir.
This is Noel Steven Sanchez. I just called to big up Elisa Brown, Simpson. She came to it that I get a low income house. She pushed me. I pain and I'm proud of her. And if each one like me to call in and give her flowers where she lives in, I will be grateful for that. Thanks very much. Have a blessed night.
Thanks as well, Sanchez. Yes, I do concur that Mrs. Brown did a wonderful job, but she still no more, but doing other things, I'm sure. Call your lad. Okay, we're having great difficulties again with our telephones, but really, I speak about this issue of housing in East Bastia because, as I said earlier, unlike other constituencies, land, it is said, is scarce in East Bastia. Let's take this call. I'll come back to that. Call your line.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
Yeah, I'm calling out to St. Vincent. Hello?
Yes, how is St. Vincent, sir?
Yeah, last week Monday night, you have given some wrong information about that the opposition leader is opposing the vaccine. The opposition leader in St. Vincent is not opposing the vaccine. We are opposing the thing that the Prime Minister changed the bill and said it compulsory that everybody should have vaccine. So that is what people are against. You shouldn't tell me what I should put in my body if I don't want to put something in my body. And when Dr. Gonsalves turned his back on you and the Team Unity in CARICOM, is the NDP they stay up for the unity, for the Team Unity? And you and Dr. Harris is a dog because Dr. Harris come in St. Vincent and Monk platform with Ralph.
Can I? What? That's somebody who ran away. But just for the records, though, what was said on this program for my good friend there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is that the opposition leader, I think it's Goodwin Friday, he confessed that he has taken the vaccines and his family as well has taken the vaccines. And I say something is wrong if you have taken the vaccines and you are mounting a process or protest against vaccines. You should encourage your supporters to take the vaccines. And that's my story, and you better believe it. I'm not going to move from that. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes?
Hello?
Yes, Major. Yes, you're live.
That is the Major. That is? Hello?
Yes, Major. Yes, Major, you're live.
Yes, you see, I'm back on this role play thing, you know. I've been sitting here and listening, And as I said to you from the time, you have to learn to understand the reasons for persons reluctant to commitment. But at the same time, hear me saying, Patches, playing the role of the other person is often very helpful. It doesn't necessarily change in anybody's mind, but it does help each other to understand, and it may actually bring us close together. I mean, let us be serious. We are big people, man. Let me get the truth. As I could understand what you're saying, but you know, I don't want to get too much involved. I just sit back and listen, and I thought about having a role play. You know how role play, let's go. Right? Hello? 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 This is getting some problem with this phone, boy.
Yes, Major. Yes, Major.
You know how role play work, eh?
We understand you.
Yes, okay.
But let's be specific. No, I mean, you know, let's be specific so people can understand what you said.
Yeah. Well, as you're saying that, I don't think you said that you're not blaming the gentleman. You're not blaming the gentleman, but we can get something sorted out.
I am blaming the gentleman.
Huh? The gentleman,
I am blaming the gentleman.
Lindsay, is Lindsay, sir? Is Lindsay? He's now some big man who was once what he was he? Was the chairman or something like that?
He was the chairman.
And now he's something else. He's an advisor now. Is that happening?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Okay. Thank you. You know how to do your thing. You know how to do your thing, right?
Okay, my brother.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the Major. And just for my friends in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, this is what the opposition leader in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Goodwin Friday, said to the media.
You are supportive of vaccination. I mean, even before the vaccine came here, yes, you said that you would have taken it, and I did. And you did. You did so without entering into prayerful consideration, as the Prime Minister did. So why then are you against mandatory vaccination, having said yourself that it's important? That the vaccination is the only clear way through which we're going to go back to some sort of normalcy.
Yes. But listen, it still is, you know, even when you have competing rights and goods, it still is a question of individual liberties and choices. In the UK, they reached to a state now where I think like 90% of the people have had the first jab, and they never had to resort to any mandatory requirements. So here is a question of education, it's a question of encouragement, and you know, more people, I believe, will take it with more information once they realize that it is safe and that they will benefit from it, and that the country in general will benefit from it.
And yes, the country will benefit if they take the vaccines. I'm saying the opposition leader and his entire family took the vaccination. So you educate your followers, encourage them to take the vaccine, and that is my view, and I believe it's the proper way to go. But you, as I said, I respect your opinion nonetheless. That's what straight talk is all about. But good to know that St. Vincent and the Grenadines are locked in. If you just joined me, we are discussing housing here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I was going to say that land is a scarce commodity in East Bastille, she said. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I will explain that on some other occasion. But let's go back to the lines in the meanwhile, because caller, you're live.
Yes, Patrick. Patrick, why you think the Taliban take over Afghanistan? And his president hold on, so he no longer have a majority. Everything is just mutual line. I don't want to talk too much because everyone of us educated in our redundancy. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Lawson, but why think the Taliban took over Afghanistan, well, the U.S. forces have withdrawn. Well, let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Good night, Brother Patches.
Yes, caller. Good night, sir.
How are you? How are you and your family?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself? We have not met as yet.
Well, I'm chiming in late because I had a long day of doing some technical work. But anyway, my concern is the government ruling party is placed in position by the people. So is it fair to say the government is the people and for the people? Secondly, if the government is the people and for the people, in respect to any wealth that the Federation has generated, isn't it fair to say the citizens have a right to know the wealth of the nation? Reason why I say that, expenses go in, expenses come out. There are some sort of poverty in St. Kitts and Nevis. How can the government be transparent in announcing the wealth of the country? Shouldn't it happen? I mean, from all the leading parties, from Bratcher, come all the way up to Harris, they know what the nation wealth is. The cabinet know what the nation wealth is. I think the citizens have a right to know the nation wealth. I need to know, and I believe other people need to know. Because all these saying money is spending out, money is given, there are no money, or there are money, there are surplus. What is it, how the nation stand in terms of financial stability? That's a question. Another one I will address. I think it's Mr. Politics who mentioned that he was somewhere in Bastia and a male police officer and a female police officer was traveling along somewhere, and the male police officer just punched that guy, whether he had a mask on or not. Is that civilized for such a thing to happen? Why police must beat up people and nothing for it? Shouldn't the government, the municipal, be sued, regardless to what? So that man gets a punch for what reason? I mean, these things should not be happening today. If something contrary to the law that everyone should abide by, instead of the officer punching that guy, if it is true, he should have given him a ticket, if that's the rules and regulation, if that's the ordinance. I think that guy can sue that officer for punching him because he don't know the reason why. He wasn't given any warning. It's just a punch. I mean, that's what I heard the gentleman said, and I listened very keenly, and I don't like those sort of things. That's not civilized, and that's not police officer in terms of discipline. Thank you for that. I would like that to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Caller, we go back to the lines. Call your
Yes, Patches. That caller there just now say, listen here clearly. I think he got back somewhere in the ear. The gentleman said he backed the guy, not boxed the guy. You understand me? Something now he gone and spread about policeman, box off man and all of that and full shit. And he blame me now, Mr. Politics, for that. You understand me? So he couldn't be listening clearly. When they got the wrong agenda, and they want to talk. That's why they say anything to get by, you know. But if you were listening clearly, he need to review what he said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was a bit confused myself, but let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Yeah, Patches. How are you, man? Good evening, man.
Good evening, my brother.
Yeah, right then and there, I think you should stop that misinterpretation right there with that caller. The caller, he didn't get it right, but there's no reason to jump all over him. It's just a matter of correcting the guy. I didn't, like he said he tuned in late, and when you tune in late sometimes, you doesn't really get the gist of everything of what the callers were saying. I think that was Culture that called in, who stated that he saw police officers coming down the road. He didn't say that the police officer boxed the guy that was not wearing a mask. I think he implied that the police officer dapped him up, like give him a pound or something like that. You know, when you meet guys in the road, your friends or whatever, you'll give them a pound or what they call a daps. You know, I don't think the caller who stated that indicated that the police officer boxed the guy. So you as the moderator, man, you gotta moderate this stuff immediately. You know, I don't know if you're listening keenly, but that's not what I heard. But the caller who made a mistake and said he must have heard that the guy who's called in boxed, they said the police officer boxed the guy. I don't think he meant any hurt, but he just needs to be corrected politely. Yeah, thanks, man. I'll call back in later.
Thanks for your input as well. That's what Straight Talk is all about. Each one help the other, each one corrects the other. It's a participative program, that's what I said, but I myself was confused, and forgive me for that. Let's go back to the lines. Call your live.
I'm right here. But I want to defend Mr. Politics. Mr. Politics haven't called in for the night as yet. It was me, Mr. Radical Culture, said what I saw on 4th Street, and I did not say box. So I want to thank Rock and this last caller before me for clearing up that statement. I did not say box, the daps, which is that come from the Jamaican Rastaman style of greeting one another. Just fist up, you know, just daps up and we go and we smile. So a good listener will make a good commentator. Let somebody else come in here, Patrice. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad for all those clarifications, but that's what Straight Talk is all about. We sure we get the facts out there. Is there another call on the line? Call you live.
Greetings.
Greetings, sir.
Good night, Mr. Ambassador. How you doing?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
You give thanks for life and give thanks for strength. Just call in because me hear you put some question out there to the general public at large, and basically for pursuing that what you're pursuing in your agenda to your program tonight pertaining to the houses in the location of the East Bastard area. And I find it very strange to see that those houses are built for a period of time now, and it's still seen that not even one are the people who are supposed to be able to allocate to get back to those houses that was broken down at the first stages, you know, reach back into those positions. So I see that you put out some memo out there to indicate why the situation at hand like this. But I remember I called in on a program where the Prime Minister was hosting in Leadership Matters, and I asked him about those them same houses, and he was indicating that there was some interviews supposed to be taking place, and I heard you make mention about the same interviews that have been taken, and these people have been pursued to get these houses, and if they are being pursued to get these houses, them houses should have done be in the people them hand, and the people them should have done be in them houses, being relaxing as there was stated as, because that was the agenda that what you, as a part of this administration that is in government now, had indicating that the houses that was there before the condition them what they was in was deplorable, and it's to see now that you all have gone to rephrase and remodel in a different stage, and up to now those houses can be distributed. I mean, the Prime Minister and the administration need to be blamed too, not just the man who was whatever he was the chairman of the board, and whatever other angles he had handling, and other people who was a part of his circle. They all need to take credit with why these houses have not been given up, because there was a time, even under your time, when you was minister, that there was a ceremony was supposed to be given hosts that to hand over these houses, and then the ceremony had been cancelled. If you could recall, I hope that you could recall on that statement there I just make. Mr. Ambassador?
Well, Russ, I'm happy to hear you. I haven't heard you for a long time.
Me saying it's not, I'm not going to
that particular
just watch how your system
position
with the world wasted and
should have been handed over during my time, and they were not. Are you there? Okay, we seem to have lost Russ Ayo, a warrior from the east himself, and of course you've had the interests of East Bastion had. But as I said, I strongly believe and I know that once things would have been done with the full cooperation of the board, all those 6 units should have been built out long before 2020. Caller, you are live.
Mr. Patches, I'm the caller for calling about the police incident on the back end. I mean, listen, probably I did not heard right, but I thought I heard the police officer back this guy. But I didn't mean to hurt one feeling. So I'm a man. I step up to the plate. If I said something wrong or misunderstand, I apologize. So those unto whom it may concern, I am sorry and I apologize. But should anything like that happen, because I know police beat people already, it is wrong. But if this statement that I made is in error, I apologize deeply from the bottom of my heart. So, hold no grievance and hold no heartache. But it's just, I'm a man of principle, right, and dignity. So, like I said again,
as well.
I apologize. I step up to the plate. Okay? Thank you for having me again.
Thank you very much, and that's a sign of maturity that you can come back and humble yourselves. And the good book says, he that humbleth shall be exalted. He that exalted himself shall be abased, and the humble shall be exalted. So all is human, and we all make mistakes, and if you make a mistake and come back and apologize, that's what we need in a mature society. Caller, you're live.
Greetings. Yeah, the man ain't got no agenda. I hope you don't have none. And listen, stop talking about blood rap in your sound. Mr. Liburd. Mr. Liburd.
Yes. Are you there?
Are you there?
Ras Eli. Okay, we seem to be having some difficulties. Call your line.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen Nzinga. Blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you, the family?
Peaceful, my brother. You and yours?
Good, man, good. All is well, man. All is well. Now, beloved brother, I can't believe what I am hearing, beloved, in regards to those apartment houses up on Wellington Road. Brother, I saw some pictures. Those, I said, wow, these are some beautiful things, man. And you want to tell me
You said that it's over a year now they're there, board up, close up and everything like that. Come on, man. What kind of person? What, this guy, Valentine Lindsay, or whatever his name is, what, that guy got so much power over the minister and over the cabinet? But if the former chairman and the minister, beloved, ain't doing anything, Dr. Harris, cabinet, do what they have to do. Open up the houses so poor people could get place to live. And them kind of prices you talk about, what, $1,200 a month? That's how most poor people do make a month. Come on, man. We got to get compassion and love for our people and care about our people. But Brother Patches, y'all see me tell you years ago, you know, watch your back. I've been telling you that for years. It look like they want to dismantle every great thing you have done when you was a minister, brother. Look like they just want to dismantle everything, let everything run down, and then, that goes from Patches. So they want to like erase your legacy, my beloved brother. And you should not stand idly by. I know you are not doing that, beloved, but come on. So Prime Minister, you got to do something about that, man. You're the Prime Minister. You're the one thing in these ministries. You could take away all the ministries under the Constitution of St. Kitts Nevis. You can take away every ministry and put them under your own run things. I mean, I'm not for them kind of things, you know, because for me, Prime Minister have too much power. But come on, man, you can't let this Brother Patches. This shouldn't go on by September, middle of September. Everything's supposed to resolve in them thing, man. Those apartments were done finish up everything and give people there, man. Come on, Mr. Prime Minister, man. You call the O, so let me see you call the O in this one, beloved. Brother, thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the great works. Pan-Africanism our purpose. One love, my beloved African brother.
One love, my brother. Now, but we go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Yeah, namesake, good night.
Yes, my namesake.
You're punching way below the belt, boy. I tell you, you're doing good. And continue to do what you're doing for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, concerning these houses, you see, I believe that when people have too much power, they tend to abuse it. And that's what I've been finding happening when it comes to government ministries. Somebody always try to abuse the power. But I'm saying we need to put party aside. When it comes to houses giving out, you give them out to people in need. Because you have some people go and get houses and they rent them out and live in their own houses. I mean, and it's not right. These houses should go to people who in need. People who are paying rent and stuff like that, so they can be paying for their own houses instead of paying somebody else's mortgage. And these are things that we need to look into. Because I personally worked very hard in 2015, carry casket all up and down last year. And up to now, I put in for a house and I went and do an interview and I have not get any houses yet, but I'm still hanging in. Because you see, I'm a fighter, just like you do. I am a strong fighter, a strong believer in unity and the People's Action Movement. But I want to say, the People's Action Movement need to step aside, move themselves out of the way, and let things done properly and in order. Because I believe in decency and in order. And if we don't abide by that, that means we don't believe in the Bible. Because the Bible speaks about order. And whatever you're doing must be in order, and look after the people that are less fortunate. Are you hearing me? Because this is the time that we are living in.
Yes.
And people are looking on and watching what's going on. And it doesn't sound good that we start to have rancor in the unity party. because they mean well, and as far as I look at it, the Prime Minister has been the leader who's been charged with the duty of carrying out the leadership. He's doing a good job, but I can assure you, he have some square pegs in a round hole, and that causing a lot of problem in our society, and we need to stop it. Whether you are PAM, PLP, CCM, whatever you choose to, whichever party you choose to support, the fact remains, as long as it's acquisition and division, we should get the first preference. And that's what I believe, and that settles it. God bless you. Have a good night. You're doing a good job. Keep it up.
God bless you as well, my brother. And just to be clear, there are no issues with the government that I knew of when I was there with the houses. There was an issue with the NHC and to its chairman, Lindsay, was refusing bluntly to sign that loan agreement. Is it signed as I speak now? I don't know that. And that chairman still has an influence in houses, those houses, and in housing generally. Caller, you're live.
Yes, I just called back in to find out if we're in a strange land. Ask someone to sing this song, because we got them houses up there, pay people to look after them, security them, and but we got the most money now. And up to them, I can't get, I cannot get any, I will need some money because it's safe. And people who ain't born here coming in and getting the $500 and not getting none. And they have money to put people to this, do security up there. I pass up there, see people that walk up. I never seen nothing like that yet. If the house is to give out, just give out the houses. Are we really living in a strange land? My thing it look like it can't do the Lord could sing a song. So, oh my God, you make any Prime Minister reach late, let's who come early. Oh my gosh, we need to pull up. People who was in the house, they told me they don't get interview, and up to now they can't get a call about them. Mr. Patches, my granddaughter was was behind you in election last year, June. She badly need a house. She's young and energetic, and she could pay for one. She's very young. So she need a house. And who working in the elder and the working where the salary is good, you all give them the house and stop pulverize them. I never see this in St. Kitts as among the really where we gone wrong. When you talk, people are vexed, but something really ain't ticking. You have a good night, you hear?
Have a good night as well. And yes, I can corroborate the information that people were interviewed for those 24 houses. And people were notified. Let's go back to the lines. Call on the line. Just like Eli X would get back in. I don't know why he's dropped off. But let's go back to the lines.
Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick, good night.
My brother, good night.
Yeah. Boy,
the Bible man.
I listen to you, boy. You take courage, Patrick. You remember I tell you, no weapon that form against you shall prosper. When you telling you, when you talk straight, all the kind of thing gonna come at you. So you know what we? You're the best minister the government, the government ever have. And I'm telling you, your handiwork them crucial. You see you build a lot of houses, brother. Your handiwork crucial. So who want to mess you up at them business? They can't stop you, Mr. Patrick. They cannot stop you. So you talk to peace. You understand? Over straight talk, you talk, you peace. And I know when you talk, not like some people, when they talk, they talk missing
missing information. You talk just how it be. And that's how it's supposed to happen. So, nobody could come in front of you because they know it's straight. So, Mr. Patton, you take care of yourself and give God thanks and praise. And I'm telling you something tonight, Patches. God had done something for us this week, yeah. And last week, God had done something for us. God removed the storm from coming to us another time. And all we have to be doing now to give God thanks and praise. You understand? But people don't care. But when you pray and talk to the Lord, we have a remnant in St. Kitts. When you pray, God hears us. And I can tell you something before God is on. God put through a leader, put up a leader up there. And when God put a man there, the leader supposed to do what God tell him to do. And he praising God. Sometimes you hear when you go up you always call God's name. You say, when a nation forget about God, when a nation forget about God, the nation is doomed. But when a nation trust God and have peace in the country, for the Bible says, blessed is the peacemaker. So when you do, God honor that, because we got our confidence in God. So Mr. Patrick, don't take our people and say, and they must come on here and tell you that, you know, it's not about that. That's about, you know, build the house. And you know, it's not about that. You kind of hurricane. If the people don't want you, they will put you back there. But if people show you that they don't want you, so you be strong, Mr. Pattis. Have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night.
Greeting, Mr. Patches.
The Bible man. At 4 before 10, we go back to the lines. Call your line.
Greeting, Mr. Ian Patches Liburd. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Man, I'm very good, very, very good. It's always good when you bring topics to the floor, as I always say. And this special topic that you have here tonight, I mean, when I listen to another talk show during the week, and I hear how the information was flowing, it was very good to know and to hear you tonight elaborating on this same topic. You know, because in this country, many of us don't like to put persons in position to hold the responsible nature of what they're doing. You know, and that'll be what some of our problems. Sometimes we more look at the image of people instead we check on the responsibility that they has to deliver to the people. And I'm glad you put this topic again to the floor, so I will see what the onset would be. You be strong and stay healthy, Mr. Patches. God bless.
God bless you as well, my dear brother. I always like your intervention. Let's go back to the lines. Call on your line.
Good night, Patches. Good night.
How are you, Mr. Pontius?
And move on progressively. And whatever the government do the best that they can do for the ordinary man in this country. But I want to know, that is, I was back to because I had a little problem, I had a little breakdown, you know. You got to tell me, cool my mind, take it easy. So I just called tonight to those who sabotage in these houses in Georgia, I just want to let them know this in the 60s and the 70s. People in blind, people in stupid this time here. We are grown up people and we understand the politics. Even the little just come up the mother belly, they understand the politics. This is not like the 60s and the 70s. You understand? We elect a unity government to look over the face of this country, and here we want pull and tug, pull and tug, and pull and tug this one, pull and tug that way. And these roads that they call up to now they cannot go. And I believe that these roads are supposed to go to the ordinary man and woman in number one. The people in the house here. I believe some of them don't want to, some of them don't do that all, some of them don't sell from here for themselves. But these roads are supposed to go to the ordinary people. You understand? And I can't see the reason why up to now these house angels get that is. They only let you. The last election gone. And why? Who's sabotaging this thing? Man, this thing at the 60 this is no better. This thing at the 60 nobody knows political fool no more. Who want to tell themselves all of the time that this is political fool party? That's a business that. But this is not like the 60s and the 70s. That is what I remember to let the God bless you for the rest of the city again. God bless you.
God bless you as well, Mr. Politics. We go back to the lines. Caller, you live.
Dear friend, you good friend. I'm not saying Mr. Politics. I'm What I'm trying to say, right? Is that when people telling you things, Patrick, ask yourself if they're really for you. You understand? Me is your boy from the port. So you know me. That is, I love you. You're my friend for life. I'm the messenger from the port. I'm proud to tell you. Messenger from the port. You're my friend for life. Okay? You take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening as well. Yes, we are friends for life. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
And I was party since before election, the houses was supposed to give. I waited till when I win to give those. I was supposed to don't give them up before election and no confusion. See you.
Okay. My neighbor friend. Always good to hear. Call your line. Okay, but you've just joined us, my Straight Dog family, and we're winding down. We'll take perhaps 2 more calls. I give you 2 more calls if you will be guided by the rules of brevity. But you may have joined us late and pondered and wondered what the discussion was about. And the discussion was about housing. Housing in St. Kitts and Nevis generally, and specifically those houses on Wellington Road and East Street and West Street, beg your pardon. And the idea was, and still is, to really remove the slums in East Basseterre. And that was my mantra. Because those houses on Wellington Road and those that still exist on West Street were built since the 1950s. The only enhancement that was done to those houses was when we had representation in East Basseterre from the then Deputy Prime Minister and representative of East Basseterre, Michael Oliver Powell. Those houses were built with pit latrines, and it was Michael Oliver Powell, the representative of East Basseterre, who provided the enhancement and put flush toilets in all those houses. Those on West Street, those on Wellington Road, and those in East Street. And yours truly made that commitment to enhance the area further by demolishing those houses and building 10 units of 10 houses or 10 blocks, whatever term you use here, of 6 units each. So we should have built out some 60 units there on Wellington Road and West Street. The chairmanship of NHC under Lindsay lacked or did not provide full collaboration to those houses, which were approved at the highest level of the governments of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. I happened to be present with Prime Minister Harris in 2015 when he was engaged in bilateral talks with President Nicolas Maduro. There were 2 proposals advanced. One that dealt with the unpaid severance monies by the former administration. And President Maduro did not hesitate to agree with the request of Prime Minister Harris to fund the outstanding severance monies, and he did to the tune of 16 million Eastern Caribbean dollars. President Nicolas Maduro entertained the second request from Prime Minister Harris as it relates to housing. There's these petrocasas, and some are being built right now in mansions. There are some petrocasas that should have been built throughout the country. I think there were some 50 houses to be built, including the rehabilitation and the slum clearance there in West Street and East Street as well. But for some reason, the National Housing Corporation, under the general managership of Mrs. Elvita Simpson Brown, who attended all the meetings on behalf of the NHC, but for some reason the chairman then, Valentine Lindsay, had other ideas. And just for my good friend Nabu, who said the current houses are not going at $1,200, it was a presentation that was made by the then chairman, and they suggested that houses are middle-income houses, and as such the rent or mortgage should be at $1,200. And we said none of that. I remember making a recommendation that we look at the affordable housing project in Jamaica, I think under the Jamaican Housing Society, I think it's called, JHS, I stand corrected. And you can go to those projects and you cannot tell whether someone is a sanitary worker, a banker, or whatever job he or she may have. And although the minister did not go to Jamaica, at least we convinced the NHC that they should introduce a 3-tier system. Once your salary is above, I think, $5,000, you pay a 5%, but there's a 3-tier system nonetheless. At the % of interest on the houses. These houses at Wellington Road were being funded, but being fully funded by the Venezuelan government. But things change because really we could not really give houses free. In Venezuela there are houses being built and houses being built by the state and occupied by residents. That's a different system of government in Venezuela. So it changed from $8.3 million fully funded, and that's US dollars, to part grant and part funded. But for some reason, the NHC, under the chairmanship of Lindsay, never signed the loan agreement. And I wanted to invite Lindsay and any one of his support staff to come to Straight Talk. Let us have a rational discussion on housing generally, and in particular those houses on the Wellington Road. Let us tell the public, because I can tell the public, but I give you an opportunity to say it, why these 60 houses were not built out, why these 12 crisis houses they were called, so they can relocate people, were not built. Money's there for that. The contractor cried out pretty early. As a matter of fact, in 2018, the contractor CCF wrote this: in spite of the several meetings held with yourself, this is addressed to Minister Liburd, and other government and NHC officials, we are still at a standstill regarding the Wellington Road housing project. This project was slated to begin construction by August 2017. However, for reasons unknown, CCF has to date still not been given permission to start the above project. The project has now been delayed for approximately 8 months. And the letter goes on. And the other piece of information I will bring and can bring to the country, but I give the now special advisor in housing the right to bring that information to the public. If he doesn't, eventually I will. But the point is, there are poor women that need a house, because for poor women, a house plays a critical role in their income earning activities. It can be made a productive asset, as I said. I spoke to some people in East Bastia, some who sew at home. My dear sister Anne makes cassava bread. Jeanette bakes. Nurse Daniel, are you still awake? She cooked at her house, as she once did. Even. And I can go on and on. But the fact is, people can do things that make their home or their house into a productive asset. And in the post-COVID-19 and climate crisis hit world, a house means better security, better health as well, for the one who are allocated an energy house. More importantly, they get legal rights to house, or getting legal rights to a house means that owner gets an identity, gets a sense of independence, and that's what you need. So, my family, there is a mismatch between supply and demand, and has created an affordability problem, as ordinary people cannot pay for a mortgage on an energy house, and to compound the problem, house rent has risen. We need affordable housing, and we need to resolve the shortage. The government has helped in this way for first-time owners. But those 24 houses on Wellington Road that have been completed for over 1 year, the residents have been interviewed. They were already notified. So why aren't they allocated? As someone said and confirmed, some people are forced to live in conditions where the house bigger than the smaller night. And that roadblock, Lindsay, has to be removed. And that is my story. I am going to ask you to better believe it. The NHC legislation speaks to improving the existing supply of houses, speaks to provide houses for the indigent and infirm. And I am suggesting and I'm asking whether or not this service, I call it the service of building houses, whether it should be done by the private sector. Whether, for example, if the framers of this legislation, when they were thinking, or what was the thinking when they mandated the functions of NHC to provide housing for poor and needy people, people who are not physically or mentally strong. And after 25 years in existence, is it time for the government to revisit that mandate? As while we may say that government is continuous, the administration that created the NHC, the Douglas Labour administration, has failed to carry out that mandate. So should the role of government be to produce services, or should the role of government should be instead to enable others to produce such services in the case of building houses? That's a question I'm going to leave with you because my time is done and I got to run. But don't you move your dial. The mayor of St. Paul's is already in the house, and I'm sure he's already lined up his vinyl records where he gets them from and still keep them in that condition. Only he knows. But as I said before, don't mind what you've heard. What you've heard came from someone who has no locus standi in the matter. I quoted Plato, and Plato made the point that opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. You decipher that for yourself, my Straight Dog family. In the process, I will just thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation for tonight. I thank you, those who called, those who could not get in. I do apologize for the quality of the calls and the program as well. Those who join us on social media, whichever platform, I say thank you. And all those who listen to ZIZ Radio, you are the ones who make Straight Up, and for that reason I say a big thank you. I thank Theo Clark on the console. I thank those in the back room, Bevan Wilkinson and John James. Without you, there is no Straight Up. So I say a big thank you. Until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Up, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. With my Straight Dog family, keep moving on. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night, and keep moving on. Bye bye. Until we connect on Thursday, be good to all whom you meet.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light.